Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today we are going to look at AntiDietPilot's announcement that she's taking a Glp1. I saw this on Nadia Nimp's channel this morning and I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And so we need to talk about this. We need to hear what she has to say. Nadia had a very positive take. I am more so cautiously optimistic, I guess. Like, I'm hopeful. I'll put it to you that way. I'm hopeful for her. I'm hopeful for justice. After watching Nadia Nimp's video, I felt as if she may be starting the process of waking up. But we'll see. I'm not 100%. It's really tricky to tell because within the toxic ritualistic, there is a reductive side to it as well. And there's a lot of lying. And Justice does claim to have B followed by E followed by D. So again, this is not a projection. This is something that she says flat out. So I do have to look at it with scrutiny because you really have to look at actions and you have to look at what she does over the long term. But it's still a very interesting development, and it does indicate that she is likely, at the very least, leaving fat acceptance, even if she's not completely escaping the toxic ritualistic world, which I have a link in my description about what that is. It's like a lot of different behaviors and mindsets that go within a certain issue that YouTube doesn't really want you to talk about. So let's go ahead and hear what she has to say in this. I think I'm going to let her say the whole thing first, and then we're going to break it down piece by piece because I need to hear the whole picture.
I'm on a GLP-1 and I know
Sorry, her audio is kind of low.
I'm on a GLP-1 and I know some people are going to feel very hurt or confused or be like, bitch, what the fuck?
Hold on, let me see if I can adjust something. Never mind, that did nothing. I'm a flop. Okay, let's go ahead.
I'm on a GLP-1 and I know some people are going to feel very hurt or confused or be like, bitch, what the fuck? I also would probably say the same thing. I've been wanting to come back to TikTok for a very long time, but I told myself until I was ready to talk about this, I would not come back because I did not want to be a dishonest bitch like some of these other people, no names. I don't want to trigger anyone. And if seeing somebody on a GLP-1 is not good for your mental health, like, I'm letting you know now. I want to just first of all say that I did not get on GLP-1 for weight loss. I have an underlying medical condition. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was prescribed by my doctor. I remember sitting in the doctor's office being like, this stupid fatphobic bitch. Like, I genuinely thought she was just being fatphobic because I'm telling her I'm having these symptoms and she's like prescribing me a weight loss medication. Like, what the fuck? I just felt like I was so angry at the time. But I came home, did my own research. Because of my symptoms, I was like so desperate at the time. I was like, I need relief. So like, if I just try this and it doesn't work, my insurance covers it, like no harm, no foul. After 4 weeks of being on the GLP-1, I was eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I worked with a dietitian for a little bit in the beginning. I am mindful about my protein. I'm not like, I try to get over 100 grams a day, but like, honestly, I just eyeball it and I don't hit it every day and I don't care. I try to get 25 grams of fiber, but that's a goal I've had before the GLP-1, and then just trying to drink a lot of water, electrolytes, things like that. So in that regard, like eating wise, I don't really feel like it changed a lot. It did change like the way that I crave food. Like, I don't crave like fast food and stuff like that anymore. Now I would much rather cook than like go out to eat. So I think that's like the biggest change. I don't really get any side effects. There's no like constipation, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea. I don't know. I don't get any of those symptoms. I just get a little dehydrated when I haven't had enough water. I was just really struggling trying to figure out how to come back and talk about this. I've also been experiencing like a lot of cognitive dissonance and feeling like a hypocrite or like a failure. I think almost exactly a year ago, I went viral talking smack about GLP-1s and how all these people are going on GLP-1s for weight loss and just like pretending like nothing fucking happened. I think my body has definitely changed since being on a GLP-1, so it is something that's been kind of like hard for me because I'm like, oh, I'm feeling better and I'm losing weight. With my experience, I'm starting to like link those two again, and I don't want to like go back into that mindset of like I need to be as small as possible in order to be healthy. You know, I have really good friends, really good mutuals I talk to and confide in all the time, and I think I'm staying pretty good. I have like one friend that I know would literally slap the shit out of me if I like was going back into like diet culture. So it hasn't happened yet, so I'm assuming that I'm doing okay. I think the biggest thing for me is that I don't know what the future of my account is. I really just want to be able to post whatever I want. So that's why I'm making the disclaimer. I don't think I'm going to be doing like, hey guys, I lost X amount of pounds this week. Like, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything like that. It doesn't interest me, and there's already a bunch of people that already do that on GLP-1s on this app. But I think it would be really beneficial. I know a lot of people that followed me because they had issues with BED. And I would love to, you know, share my experience and how it's literally made those urges and that like mindset around food like completely vanish. It's been such a godsend. And yeah, I know some people are not going to understand, and I totally get it. I'm on a GLP-1, and I know some people are going to feel...
So, I'm going to take a little bit of a critical stance here. So if that's something you're not wanting to hear, then you might want to click off now, because there's certain things I'm not liking that I'm seeing here. From hearing the whole thing, I think that it's from this TikTok, at least, like I said, I may do a follow-up where I go into the other ones that she's done, but we're just going to focus on this one today. From seeing this one, it's very much giving, I will say and do anything to not upset anybody. Which, the issue with that is that you can lie or outright hide things. The way that she set this up, it does make me speculate quite a bit, which it's like, you know, you kind of have to be a little bit more transparent just because of your quote-unquote activism that you've been doing throughout this time, because of the things that you've talked about. I think you owe it to people to talk about what your health issue is, especially if it's weight related. You should disclose that. It is unethical for you not to. I'm just going to say that flat out. And it puts you in a tricky position if it doesn't have to do with your weight, because people are going to speculate that it does. And so I do think that that is unethical if you won't say that. But let's go ahead and break it down piece by piece. Let's hear it again. I'm going to tell you what I think.
Feel very hurt or confused or be like, bitch, what the fuck? I also would probably say the same thing. I've been wanting to come back to TikTok for a very long time, but I told myself until I was ready to talk about this, I would not come back, because I did not want to be a dishonest bitch like some of these other people, no name.
So she's kind of started out a bit strong, like where she's trying to soften her audience's reaction, but then she talks crap about other people who are on the same medications, which she's also on, so it doesn't really make sense. I don't think that's a good strategy. I'm just going to put it to you that way. I hear that and I'm like, but you didn't want to say that you were on it either. You didn't tell anybody for however long. It just seems weird.
I don't want to trigger anyone. And if seeing somebody on a GLP-1 is not good for your mental health, like, I'm letting you know now.
I would say if seeing somebody on a GLP-1 is not good for your mental health, you likely have an issue that you're way overly externalizing onto other people. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It just doesn't. I mean, you can look at a case-by-case basis. Like I told you guys, I've told you many times on my channel, I take a very neutral approach on GLP-1s. I don't like it when they are over-idealized or over-demonized. I just think that it's a tool that can be used properly or improperly. And I'm not a huge fan of people just using it for weight loss alone. I do think it's risky, but I understand, especially in cases of super morbid obesity, it's risky to stay that size too. So you have to make a choice. and I don't judge. Where I would judge probably would be if somebody was kind of mid-size and using it specifically for vanity or weight. I would judge that because it is a huge risk when you could literally just work on it for a few months if you were honest, and you wouldn't even be mid-size anymore. So that is what I will say about GLP-1s. They can be very helpful, but also harmful depending on how you use them. It's like with anything. So let's go ahead and continue.
I want to just first of all say that I did not get on GLP-1 for weight loss. I have an underlying medical condition. I'm not going to go into detail.
Okay. So I think she should go into detail because of what she's talked about. I think it's a little bit too convenient to not say what it is. I think she should at the very least say it has nothing to do with my weight. There's no connection, right? It's not this, it's not that, it's not that, she could be like, it's not diabetes, it's not, whatever else. She could say something to kind of at least make it clear that it doesn't have to do with her weight if it doesn't. But if it does, she absolutely needs to say what it is. It is unethical for her, especially with all the stuff she said on her TikTok. She has pushed people to just gorge themselves and eat whatever and do this type of stuff. She needs to own up to if that has caused a problem. So I don't like that at all. And it's just far too convenient, in my opinion. And like I said, if it is weight related, it is unethical for her not to disclose that.
Detail, but it was prescribed by my doctor. I remember sitting in the doctor's office being like, this stupid fatphobic bitch. Like, I genuinely thought she was just being fatphobic because I'm telling her I'm having these symptoms and she's like prescribing me a weight loss medication. Like, what the fuck?
It's not primarily a weight loss medication. It's primarily for diabetes.
I just felt like I was so angry at the time, but I came home, did my own research. Because of my symptoms, I was like so desperate at the time. I was like, I need relief. So like, if I just try this and it doesn't work, my insurance covers it, like no harm, no foul. After 4 weeks of being on the GLP-1, I was eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I worked with a dietitian for a little bit in the beginning. I am mindful about my protein. I'm not like...
So this part is strange too, because she's talking about it as if she's not trying to lose weight, but then she's also talking about it as if she is trying to lose weight. It's very, very confusing. So when I hear messages like that, I see deception. She's lying about something. It's too weird. Are you trying to lose weight or not? Does your health condition have to do with your weight? Which again, the more she talks about it, the more I think it does. I would speculate maybe she is having insulin resistance issues or diabetes, or she's kind of on the path towards that type of stuff. That's what it's seeming like to me. But again, she didn't say, so it can only lead you to speculate, which I don't think is wise in this situation. I just don't. Again, she could just be like, I'm on it, period. I don't want to say anything about it. Take the L. People would be pissed. Or she can explain it in depth and really talk about it. But this halfway thing, I just don't think it's working because it creates more questions around it. At least in my mind, it does.
I try to get over 100 grams a day, but like...
So she's talking about it as if she's trying to lose weight because people are concerned about protein, especially within using it for weight loss.
I just eyeball it and I don't hit it every day and I don't care. I try to get 25 grams of fiber, but that's a goal I've had before the GLP-1, and then just trying to drink a lot of water, electrolytes, things like that. So in that regard...
So with that, she's doing a lot of health signaling, or as a lot of fat activists would call it, like performing health, which it can be a part of a toxic ritualistic cycle because remember, there's a lot of deception within it. Even self-deception, particularly with B followed by E followed by D, there is deception. And again, you can also transfer between different ones, which I think she had a more reductive one and maybe she shifted. It's confusing. Obviously, people are not like straight up all the time when it comes to this topic. They typically lie often because part of it is lying. So, sorry. That's why it makes it really hard to pin down. All I do know for a fact is that she has had something. And I can tell from how she talks about it, from how she is around the issue, and then she flat out says she has. But you can transfer too. So you really have to be, you have to like really want to get out of the mindset entirely. Like you have to burn it down to the ground in your brain. Like you have to reject it completely because it's so sticky, because you can cause a transfer. I don't know why I always think of it as a bus transfer in my mind when I call it a transfer, but you can transfer to a different kind, or you can, within B followed by E followed by D, you can go into a reductive cycle and you're not even actually out of it. And I try to explain to you guys often that those reductive cycles can be long. It can last like almost a year. You know, it can last, in some cases, like a year. In most cases, in my opinion, it's like around 6 months. Somebody will lose weight and then, you know, within about 6 months. That's what I used to do. And I was very severe. With other people, it could be a lot shorter. But, you know, there's a lot of variances in it. And the other thing is people usually talk about it all the time. So it's very paradoxical, because when a person within the toxic ritualistic feels that they're being healthy, they will talk about it. When it comes to the binge, they don't. So that's where that like shuts down. And then you don't ever actually say that you have this problem. You just typically don't, especially if you're actively within it. So I know it's tricky. It's really tricky to talk about because there are performative aspects. And I'm just saying I'm skeptical because she's talking about these aspects of like, I'm drinking water. That's like a health performance, right? I'm getting protein, but I don't care too much about it. Like, it's very performative. She's saying exactly what you would want to hear, kind of thing. Whereas people who are not necessarily toxic ritualistic, they'll be like, oh yeah, I have candy sometimes, or I have this sometimes, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll say things like that. But I'm just saying, to me, it's a little bit, it's giving performative. That's how I see it. So it's not that I know for a fact that she's totally in this and she's totally doing that. It's that I can't tell, because that's also what it sounds like, you know? So, and how would you know if she ended up putting the weight back on? Then you would know. Like that. That's how you know. Which it usually doesn't take that long. If she keeps it off for years, she's probably in the clear. She's probably not doing that. But if she doesn't, or if all of a sudden, oh gosh, this Glp1, it's just not working anymore, you know, you can Anne Boleyn read it, then you see, you know.
Like eating wise, I don't really feel like it changed a lot. It did change like the way that I crave food. Like I don't crave like fast food and stuff like that anymore. Now I would much rather cook than like go out to eat. So I think that's like the biggest change. I don't really get any side effects. There's no like constipation, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea. I don't know.
So that, I find it very hard to believe. I'm just going to say that. So again, I think she's kind of, I wonder if she's fudging things a little bit, which again, it is toxically ritualistic to not say certain things like that. Like if she was nauseous, she wouldn't want to, because it would not only give her audience like a reason to attack her, but it's also within her own issue. If she's still actively in it, she has to deny anything. Like I used to feel absolutely horrible when I did keto, and I would do a very strict like zero carb, zero version of it, and I would feel horrible. But when I would talk about it online, which I mean, those videos are gone, those are from pre-Cove days, when I would talk about it online, I wouldn't ever say how awful I felt. I'd be like, I'm fine. Of course I'm fine. I'm fine. Now, fast forward to 2023, 24, 25, boom, 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 even some of 2022. I'm talking about how awful I feel all the time. So it's actually a good sign. Which a lot of people didn't like it when I was starting out my activism because it was so negative. But again, I was kind of coming at it from like, I'm going to do the opposite of that, even though I didn't have that framework to describe it. It was like, I need to be completely honest. And I feel like trash all the time, you know? And so that helped. And that's also how you can tell, is if somebody's willing to say, oh, I'm on this GLP-1, but I feel nauseous. That person is probably less likely to be toxically ritualistic, or they're not as bad because they're willing to say these types of things. So I'm just saying, I'm finding it hard to believe.
No, I don't get any of those symptoms. I just get a little dehydrated when I haven't had enough water. I was just really struggling trying to figure out how to come back and talk about this. I've also been experiencing like a lot of cognitive dissonance and feeling like a hypocrite or like a failure.
So I can understand that because I think part of it is performative for her audience. So I don't know how real all of it is, but the other part of it, if she is currently in an episode, which again, it's a lot of speculation. It's hard to tell because you really have to give it time. That's all I can say. You have to give her time and see what ends up happening. Because, like I said, people are not always honest, but she could be being completely honest. You don't know at the moment. You see? It's very tricky. But I think it's okay to change your mind. For me, it was just, I felt it was wise and honestly how I truly felt to just be neutral about GLP-1s. And my stance hasn't changed. I have supported and encouraged my mom to be on one. My mom is diabetic. My mom is super morbidly obese. I do think it's helpful. It's a little bit less harsh on the liver than metformin. I mean, this is where you're getting into like all these nitty gritties of why I support it in that case. But like I said, do I support it broadly for everybody all the time? No, I don't. Because for certain people, it could be riskier than what is necessary. And I also think that there's a media hysteria around it that over promotes it. And there is also a lot of people within E followed by the letter D, toxic ritualistic, that over glorify it. Even if they are B followed by E followed by D, they may be in a reductive phase, so they cannot say that they can't say they have symptoms. You can't, because it's like, I'm performing health. I'm doing the right thing. So I can't say that I'm having a problem. Okay? So you have to like really be skeptical and see other things, which people don't like it when I say things like, you have to look at how a person looks. Do they look healthier? Do they look less healthy, right? Over time, what's going on with their physical form over time? How is it going over time? That's honestly how you can tell with stuff like this. How long does it last? Like you can see in the case of like Amberlynn Reed, for example, she'll start it and then always there's some problem, right? Something happens and, oh, I have to get off of it. You see, if that kind of thing, like if she pulls that, then I'll know it was just an episode. But if it was like she has a hormonal issue, insulin resistance, she has, PCOS, diabetes, something like that, and it's just helping her with her cravings and it's helping her with insulin resistance issues and her appetite is normalizing, then that will also show. You see? So you just have to give it time, but some of how she's talking about it, I'm not I don't know. I don't trust it, which I'll point it out when she says it.
I think almost exactly a year ago, I went viral talking smack about GLP-1s and how all these people are going on GLP-1s for weight loss and just like pretending like nothing fucking happened. I think my body has definitely changed since being on a GLP-1. So it is something that's been kind of like hard for me because I'm like, oh, I'm feeling better and I'm losing weight. With my experience, I'm starting to like link those two again, and I don't want to like go back into that mindset of like I need to be as small as possible in order to be healthy. You know, I have really good friends, really good mutuals.
So I think regardless, it's not good to have that mindset because it's not true. And if she is working on her problems and she's trying to look at it objectively and more neutrally, of course I would be so happy for her and I would be really supportive of her if that is in fact what is occurring. I'm hopeful that that's what's happening. But she's still like, I don't want to link weight and health. Unless if I heard that wrong.
Go back into that mindset of like I need to be as small as possible.
So that's fine.
And I'm losing weight. With my experience, I'm starting to like link those two again.
See, okay, she's talking in circles or she's kind of dancing around it. So is she saying I'm starting to link those two again, like I'm rediscovering the truth, or is she saying I'm starting to link those two again and it's a bad thing because I'm going to start going back to my other one, the other issue I had? You see, she talks kind of she's kind of playing games is what I'm trying to say. Like she's talking in a way where you can interpret it in two different ways. And it's tricky to understand.
And I don't want to like go back into that mindset of like I need to be as small as possible in order to be healthy. You know, I have really good friends, really good mutuals I talk to and confide in all the time. And I think I'm staying pretty good. I have like one friend that I know would literally slap the shit out of me if I like was going back into like diet culture.
Diet culture with a lot of these people is basically E followed by letter D, aka, you know, especially when people with, you know, the one where you're doing too much, it's toxic ritualistic. You can almost switch it completely. But so when she says that, I'm like, okay, so she's saying my friend will stop me if I go back into this problem. Which, does that person have the problem themselves? You know what I'm saying? Are they seeing it clearly or not? Like, you don't know who that friend is. You see? Especially if they're calling it diet culture. It's a red flag, in my opinion.
So it hasn't happened yet, so I'm assuming that I'm doing okay. I think the biggest thing for me is that I don't know what the future of my account is. I really just want to be able to post whatever I want. So
okay, well, that's fine. I get that. But, I mean, if you're switching narratives, if you're switching things up, people might be displeased and, you know, I would still support you in changing the narrative. Obviously, I think it'd be a great thing if you're no longer a fat activist. I would think that's amazing. But there will still be some pushback. You will also get support too. And you are able to post and talk about whatever you want to. You talk about a lot of different topics on your TikTok anyways. So I think it's okay, but you know, there is still consequences and it's challenging. And so that's the part of it too, is it's very hard for me to untangle. Is she lying to protect her image online, or is she lying due to a toxic ritualistic issue? All I can see is that she's lying, or she's being dishonest. She's withholding the truth, right? Like she's talking in code. She's saying two different things at once. Like she's not being honest. That's all I can see. But I cannot necessarily know exactly why. And it could be all of it together. So it's tricky. And like I said, we'll have to follow and see what happens.
That's why I'm making the disclaimer. I don't think I'm going to be doing like, hey guys, I lost X amount of pounds this week. Like, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything like that.
You don't think so? That's interesting. So I wish that she would say, I mean, it's really sounding like she's doing it for weight loss purposes, which I do believe it could have had to do with her health. She may have a health issue from her weight, and she doesn't want to say that, and she needs to. So like I said, whether it's to save face within the fat acceptance community or whether it is a weird toxic ritualistic deception, it's not good either way. You need to step up. If you're just being a coward because you said all these talking points forever, you need to undo some of that damage. I'm going to put that on you. You need to tell the truth. People need to know, would you be okay if somebody else followed what you said and ended up getting a health issue? You know, it's not ethical. You should be honest. That's all. You know, it's okay to change your mind. It really is. Especially in this way. I mean, I'm so happy if that is what's happening, but I am just a little skeptical for now.
That doesn't interest me, and there's already a bunch of people that already do that on GLP-1s on this app. But I think it would be really beneficial. I know a lot of people that followed me because they had issues with BED, and I would love to, you know, share my experience and how it's literally made those urges and that like mindset around food.
So I don't like that. I do not like that at all, because it's encouraging people within the toxic ritualistic to use Ozempic as an excuse, or GLP-1s as an excuse, and also to use it as, or pretend in their mind that it's this miracle, because it becomes this miracle cure, which again, there's been many, many different kinds throughout the decades. And you don't want GLP-1s to become just one of those. And that's what could happen. That problem, the toxic ritualistic, it is a mental illness. It is a delusion. It's a mental health issue. And it's not based in your hormones and stuff like that. It's not, other than the damage that it does, which it does do damage to your hormones. But that's a different issue. It is not a physical problem. It's a mental problem. It's a misapplication. I tried to explain it to some of you guys in one of my recent videos, where when you have the feeling of being full, you feel a sense of disgust. And that's typical, right? Like if you're eating and you get full, you're like, oh, I'm full. I don't want to eat anymore, just because you've eaten enough, right? And you feel a sense of disgust. When you have this mental problem, you misapply that feeling of disgust and you put it towards yourself. So it's still in the brain. There's nothing wrong with your body indicating disgust after eating enough. But you misinterpret the signal in your brain and you make it about your physical form in you as a person. So it's a mental illness. And there's so many more layers to it. And like I said, all the delusions and lies and all these things around it. GLP-1s will not save you from the toxic ritualistic. You have to fight it. It can become a tool within it. Which, what does that look like? That looks like, oh, for some reason my insurance isn't paying for it right now. I have to get off of it. Oh, well, that means I have to gain everything back. No. Or, oh, my insurance isn't covering it. That means I can never lose the weight. No. You see, you shouldn't encourage people to play those games. And that's kind of what she just did. So I don't like that at all. That part I have a huge issue with it, because it's still a toxic ritualistic reinforcement. And she might even be subconsciously doing it because she wants to prevent people from attacking her, basically, which is, again, it's selfish and I don't support it. I just don't.
Would like completely vanish. It's been such a godsend, and
See?
Yeah,
It's a miracle cure. See?
I know some people are not going to understand, and I totally get it. I'm on a GLP-1.
Okay. So that's basically all she has to say so far in this one. I think I may do more of them maybe for tomorrow, but I want to just take it piece by piece. And I guess if I had to rate this whole thing, I would give it, is it a positive or negative impact? It's probably is like neutral or nothing. If anything, even a little bit negative. For her personally, if she is at least getting out of fat acceptance, that will help her. And I'm happy for her. Absolutely. If she's going to quit fat activism, that's amazing. I'm so happy, right? I'm happy with her for giving that up. But if it is within a toxic ritualistic spiral, or if there's other stuff going on, which there are some warning signs there, then I would still be a little worried. But we'll have to see what happens. It sounds like regardless, the medication is helping her with health issues. So I'm very happy for her that it's working for her and that those symptoms that she's experiencing are easing. I'm very happy for her when it comes to that. So with that being said, I hope that she's at the very least on the path to getting out of all those issues. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But if I didn't hear anything that was just like, bam, that's reality. I didn't hear that. I wanted to hear that. It was more like, that's, she's kind of talking out of the side of her mouth, which to me, it's like, it could be about her audience, but it could also be about her own problems. And it's very hard to tell the difference, but time will tell. And that's kind of my stance. So I hope that was clear. But I'm sorry, I'm kind of tortured about this one. This one's a tortured one. I haven't been tortured in a minute. Let me get my bouquet 1 second. I haven't been tortured in forever, but this is a tortured moment. So I have to do my But Daddy I Love Him pose. I'm just kidding. I don't know how I did it. I had a picture of it on my Instagram when I was like... But I'm tortured about this. I haven't been tortured since that Leo Skeppy thing. So it's been a minute. But this is something where I cannot really support or not support, which is weird. So I hope you guys can handle the neutrality that I have, the tortured quality that I have. But hey, I still have this bouquet. So the But Daddy I Love Him bouquet. But anyways, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.